image and likeness of this life. You are personification of it. You are the personality of God. The kingdom of heaven is already within you. And the law of the kingdom is harmony, peace, and joy. And so it is.
And so it is.
And so it is. At this time, I want to introduce our speaker for this morning, and it is one of our practitioners in training, Jason Muhammad, and he has previously spoken both live, and I'm not sure whether we've had him on as a guest on Zoom. I don't recall. In any case, you are in for a real treat, and so welcome, Jason, and let's give him some love. So,
thank you very much, Reverend Trish, and thank you very much, Frank. So once again, my name is Jason Muhammad. I'm a student of the science of mind and have been since about 2014 and a member of CSL Metro since 2016. I've been studying these universal principles since my teens, books like Think and Grow Rich and The Science of Success, Psycho-Cybernetics, The Richest Man in Babylon. And quite honestly, for most of my life, I've been using what I've learned for quick fixes in my life. But more recently, I've decided to take a more committed study because these universal principles lead to a more fulfilling life. I'm going to share with you one of the things that I caught myself doing that's a real impediment to my very health. And it has to do with making judgments. I used to wake up with severe back pain, and it would flare up every now and then. I wouldn't be able to sit up or walk until it subsided, usually in a day or two. Afterward, I would go to the doctor, but the scans, they never revealed anything. And this continued for me for every few years since my early 20s. Now, this continued till about 2018. I was in this class that Reverend Trish led called The Essential Ernest Holmes. And we had a discussion about the right use of our thoughts. When I took time to meditate on this matter, I realized that the thought of pain was given to me. And more importantly, I accepted it. That sounds kind of crazy if you think about it, but let me explain to you. My coach from high school told me that I would experience back pain when I got older because of the way that I played basketball. He said that I would have this pain for the rest of my life. And really, I forgot all about this up until the time that I decided to examine why this kept happening to me over and over again. You see, my coach, he probably meant well. But when he shared that opinion with me, I unconsciously made the judgment that this information was true. After all, he was an adult, he was the coach, so of course, he must know what he's talking about. I accepted this information as right. And guess what? Universal law went to work to ensure that I experienced back pain later in my life, almost on schedule. I've now committed and accepted that I am whole, that I'm healthy and complete, that my body is a perfect expression of God. Because you see, that's what I needed to do. I needed to make that judgment in my life. I needed to make that pronouncement in my life so that I accept that as true. And that is really the basis of our short talk today. We're going to talk about right judgment. You see, right judgment is when we accept the thoughts of the experiences that we truly want in our lives. Right judgment is when we ignore the opinions of the world and only accept into our consciousness our best and our highest good, when we only accept the life that we want to experience. Well, sure, it's fine to talk to experts when you feel you need to. I go to the doctor. There's nothing wrong with that. But ultimately, you decide what is good for you. You want to talk to your supportive friends and families about important matters? That's fine too. But you decide what is good for you. If you want to admire the rich, famous, and beautiful people on the social media, by all means. But will you allow what you see and what you hear and what you read to inform how you should think or feel? Or what your body should look like? Or where you should be at a particular stage in your life? You want to stay informed on world events? I like to. I like to read the paper as well. But are you going to allow the day's bad news to seep into your consciousness and erode your happiness? You see, we make these judgments, you and I make these judgments each and every day, each and every hour, almost each and every minute. I'm going to relate a story to you about this. And this story comes from the Bible. And it's a story of Jesus questioning his disciples about who he was. Now, we're not talking about the historical Jesus or the theological Jesus. When I read the Bible or the Quran or any holy book for that matter, I see the people and the places and the stories in those books as a guide to how human beings think. I see the characters in these stories as attributes of my mind. They're carrying on thoughts with each other or conversations with each other that represent themselves as thoughts in my mind. So I'd like to share one with you. In Matthew 16, Jesus asked his disciples, "Who do the people say the Son of Man is?" He's referring to himself. They replied, "Some say John the Baptist. Others say Elijah. Some say Jeremiah or maybe one of the prophets. But what about you?" he asked. "Who do you say that I am?" Peter then answered, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." And Jesus replied, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for this was not revealed to you by man, but by my Father in heaven. And I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not overcome it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." So what does this mean? When he was having the conversation with the disciples, and they gave him a rundown of who others said he was, John the Baptist, Elijah, maybe some other prophet. This represents the opinions of the world. The disciples were probably being nice to the historical Jesus and not really giving him the whole story, because you might know he wasn't very popular during the time he walked the earth or well understood. So in your world, what are some of the things that are said about you? Not directly to you, but from all the different avenues that we're getting messages from our social media, from our news, from our magazines. Some say that you are unhealthy. Some say you are unattractive. Some say that you will never get out of your particular situation. These are all opinions of the world. Later on in the verse, it says, "But what about you?" he asked. "Who do you say that I am?" Now, this is the real you speaking. This is the divine you speaking. This is how God expresses through you. When Peter answered, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. That is now Jesus being represented as your consciousness. Jesus represents your highest and best self. When Jesus replied to him, blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for this was not revealed to you by man, but by my Father in heaven. Simon in this instance represents what we hear and what we see. He represents what you take into your consciousness. In the Bible, Simon was represented as a soldier, or Simon Peter, who we later come to know as Peter, was represented as a soldier, someone with a military background, a military bearing, a fighter. And so these are a representation also of your defenses, defending what we see and what we hear. Now, Jesus tells Simon, this was not revealed to you by man, but by my Father in heaven, meaning that you are shutting out the opinions of the world and instead only accepting the good in your life, the good in your thoughts. That is what that Peter character inside of you is helping you do. And it continues, and I tell you, Peter, on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not overcome it. Let me rephrase that for a moment. When you are seeing and hearing only good in your life, you are developing rock faith, a faith that cannot be overcome no matter what in hell is going on around you. And it continues, I will give you the keys of the kingdom. Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loose in heaven. What does this mean? This means that if you judge something to be true, it will be bound to you. If you judge something to be untrue, it will not be bound to you. If I say I am broke, I am binding myself to poverty. If you say I am lonely, you are binding yourself to being friendless. If you say I am sick, you are binding yourself to disease. Instead, let us use right judgment. Let's turn that around and say, I am abundant, I am popular, I am healthy, I am love, I am joy. We must be careful with the pronouncements of the world. You are a divine expression of God by birth. Stop thinking about your thoughts, your faults and your shortcomings, or what you did in the past that you are not too proud of. Many people keep themselves away from their good, from their ultimate blessing, because they are holding on to something from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago. So many people also believe that they need to be holy to experience good in their lives. I have a secret for you. You are just as holy as any self-proclaimed holy person. You are just as holy as the Pope of Rome, the Imam of Mecca, the chief rabbinate of Israel, or even the Dalai Lama. Holy only means whole. You are whole in God. You are complete in God. You are enough, and you need no other qualifications. You have grace. It doesn't need to be earned. Here's a verse that is relevant to this discourse, but I believe it's often misused. I want you to remember that in this conversation, we're not following the Bible in a fundamentalist way. There's a verse in the Bible that tells people to pluck their eyes out. And I'm sure we would all agree that that's allegorical and there's a deeper meaning, and we're not going to actually go off and do that. So let's look at a verse that we're going to dig into and understand a little bit more. In 1 John, 2nd chapter, it says, do not love the world nor the things that are in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. This verse simply means that you must cherish your own thoughts, your own mind above all else. We cannot allow the news, the advertisements, the social media posts, the politicians, or even our pastors to have more sway over what you judge to be true more than you. Also, I've mentioned quite a bit in this talk, this concept of the world. The world is not the earth. I'm sure we've all heard the expression, he's in his own little world. You see, the world's a set of beliefs, and we exist in many different worlds. If you're a medical professional, you have a language and a way of thinking that's particular to your profession. You can leave the United States and you can go to Bangladesh and speak to another doctor, providing you speak the same language, and you can communicate about your profession very easily. They'll understand you, or any other place in the world. And I think this is true of all professions. If you're a fundamentalist Christian pastor, you may have a different worldview than an atheist who's also a scientist, and have more in common with a fundamentalist Muslim because you come from a similar world. This concept of do not love the world simply recognizes that these worlds that we're a part of are temporary, and they will change and they will fade away over time. So if you are experiencing lack, it is temporary. If you are experiencing sickness, it is temporary. If you're experiencing loss, it is temporary. I would like for you to recognize your oneness with the Creator who is eternal, the Creator who is changeless. And finally, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is good and acceptable and perfect will of God. That's you. Those are your thoughts. You are proving what is good and acceptable and perfect will of God, the expression of God in your life. Right judgment is deciding what you want in your life and keeping your general thoughts in that direction. Only accepting information that feeds your thoughts and rejecting those that do not nourish you. As Henry David Thoreau remarked, if one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. So this is our choice that we make each and every day and each and every hour, to consciously take the negative of the world and ignore it, to be blind to it. This does not mean that we do not acknowledge injustice, but it does mean that we handle it with right judgment. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. So what does this mean? When you catch yourself condemning yourself, I don't have the money, I'm fat, I'm stuck, I'm scared. It's a good idea to stop yourself and to immediately turn that around. It's good to stop and to remember that you are a divine being and to say to yourself, the divine order is in order. Let's all repeat that to ourselves. The divine order is in order. And one more time. The divine order is in order. This means all is well despite appearances. Now, I know that the universe brings us what we most desire in our lives, but I have to ask myself, did I really desire debilitating pain? So I have a question for everyone joining us today. Take out a writing instrument and a piece of paper. What do you keep experiencing in your life that you can do without? I'd like for you to take a moment and to write down the experiences that you do not want to continue in your life. Just take a quick moment and write that down. Now, I would also like for you to write down the opposite of the experience that you do not want to continue. Now, I might write down, I am whole, healthy, and complete. You may write, I am loving, I am grateful for promotion, I am joy, I am happiness, I am courage, I am success. I want you to carry this with you for the remainder of today. And like me, you may consider joining us for one of our classes to take a deeper study as well. But I want you to look at the words in the list that you wrote, and we're going to take just 60 seconds or so to let that seep into our consciousness. We're going to quickly go into the silence. We're going to think about the I ams that we have just written. We're going to think about the truth of ourselves. We're going to use right judgment to bring that into our consciousness and to accept it. So let's take a 1 minute, allowing us to do that. Just breathing in and out. Okay, we're going to gently bring our attention back for a moment, and let us end by feeding our thoughts with good. The following is adapted from a meditation taken from the Science of Mind textbook. God is, and I am. There is no condemnation in me, nor operating through me. I am free from the belief or the thoughts of men. I walk my own way, immune to all suggestion of condemnation. Only those thoughts can enter my mentality which I allow to enter. I do not and I cannot receive adverse thoughts. Only those thoughts which are helpful and life-giving can find entrance into my house. I am grateful for the power of my word. I release this, and so it is, and so ends the lesson.
Let's definitely turn on those videos so that they can see all the wonderful response. So just so you know, we have a social time immediately following our gathering, and Jason will be at that social time. So if he piqued some questions in you, you'll be able to ask him. Wow, thank you so much. And I wrote down my new affirmation. Thank you, Jason. So with that, we shift to our gratitude for all of the wonderful support that everyone gives to Center for Spiritual Living Metro. We are grateful for every bit of support that's financial, of course, as well as volunteering, sharing time and talents and treasures. So please join me as we read our prosperity blessing. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless. It is evidence of my conviction that God is the source and substance of my supply. I joyously contribute to the vision of this spiritual center. My gifts return to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is. Now, we have we want to make it really easy for you. And so we have lots of ways that you can give, but the simplest is if you have a smartphone, you can use the Givelify app and, excuse me. But if you don't have a smartphone, you can also go to the givelify.com website and follow the process there. If you prefer to use a PayPal process, you can just go to our website and click the donate button. Or if you don't want to play in the electronic world, here is the address, 7006 Ted Drive, Falls Church, where you could mail a check. So we'll give you a few moments and listen to some great music while you take care of that.
CSL Metro, this is a song by Johnson and Tom Hayes. How do you measure your time, talent, or treasure? Do you hold back or simply let go? You'll find there's no lack if you simply give back. Of
Thank you, music team, and thank you, everyone. And Frank, would you please bless our offering?
My pleasure. And I'm grateful. I'm ever so grateful for everything. I'm grateful for this community. I'm grateful for the love of this community. I'm grateful for the friends I have in this community. I'm grateful for life. I'm grateful for my beloved husband. I'm grateful for the contributions that have come forward to help us to continue to share and move forward and to love. I'm grateful for these contributions, knowing that sharing our philosophy, our belief, moves the whole planet forward. And I'm grateful for every person here on this today, every person not here today on this. And I release this knowing it's done in mind and form, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Frank. So now our announcements. Next week, I'll be talking about the stories we tell. Next week is Mother's Day. And so I'll just leave you with that possible hint of, what sort of stories do we tell? Also, please mark your calendars now. On May 16th, we have our pet blessing. And it was suggested by friends in Austin, Texas, that it works a whole lot more easily with everybody being able to bring their pet online. So we have a flyer about it is next. Okay. And so especially now doing it online, all forms of pets can be blessed easily instead of trying to take them to a given site. And our pets have enriched our lives in so many ways. And we'll be sending out a little more detail about the process that will be involved. But it's definitely an appropriate time for us to acknowledge the love and warmth that they have brought to us. Also, a reminder that our licensed practitioners do provide brief prayer sessions, sometimes called a 1-minute miracle, immediately after service, such as during the social time. And that's done with private breakout rooms so that it's in total confidentiality and can be comfortable for you. You just need to speak up and ask for that, and we'll pair you up. The other possibility, if you prefer, is you can, of course, submit prayer requests through the website or contact the practitioners directly with the contact information that is on our website. And a reminder, join us weekdays for meditation at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. And I think that's all we have in the way of announcements for now. So it's time for our closing music.
When I'm feeling down and blue, I found a trick that I'll share with you. I can choose a better way with every little thought I think. If I wake up with a bad attitude, I fill my mind with gratitude. I give thanks for everything with every little thought I think. I can choose to be happy, choose to be free, moment by moment. It's all up to me, 'cause what I think about, I bring about. That's the way it is, and there is no doubt. Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think. What you thinking? What you thinking? What you thinking? What you thinking? You gotta watch. What you thinking? What you thinking? You got to watch your thinking. When I'm feeling down and blue, I found a trick that I'll share with you. I can choose a better way with every little thought I think. give thanks for everything with every little thought I think. I can choose to be happy, choose to be free, moment by moment. It's all up to me, 'cause what I think about, I bring about. That's the way it is, there is no doubt. Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think. Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think. Whoa, day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think. What you thinking? 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 You gotta watch your thinking. Watch your thinking. Watch your thinking.
I hadn't really thought about it in advance, how perfect that song is for Jason's talk. Definitely watch your thinking. And one of my past mentors often referred to stinking thinking, and it's really easy to fall into that pattern. So with that, we will now just imagine that we are in a circle, we're all together, and you can reach out your hands as though you were going to take the hand of somebody beside you. And feel that connection, because that's how connected we are, even in this virtual world. And so feel the love coursing hand to hand and heart to heart. Really feel it. And now bring into our circle all of your loved ones, all of your friends. Those are loved ones. Okay. All of your loved ones, all of your acquaintances, all of the people you occasionally pass, like at the grocery store, all those that you may encounter regularly or irregularly. Circle's getting kind of crowded. Now also bring into this circle the people throughout the world that you probably will never cross paths with. What we're doing is we're filling this circle with all of that oneness. All of those that are also expressions of the divine, just like we are. And now gently release that imagined hand and bring your hands up to what is commonly a blessing sort of position. And bless and love everyone, everything, recognizing our inseparability from them, for we are all the expression of the divine. We are each an activity of God as love, whether we know it or not. And so gather up some of that love and now bring it into your own heart. Breathe into it. Breathe into it and say, yes, thank you, more please. Yes, thank you, more please. And so it is. Thank you, everyone. And if you wait just a moment, we will say goodbye to those who have joined us on Facebook. We are so grateful that you come to be with us.